कस्तूरी तिलकं ललाटपटले वक्षस्थले कौस्तुभम् नासाग्रे वर्मौक्तिकं करतले वेणुकरे कङ्कणम् सर्वाङ्गे हरिचन्दनं सुललितम् कण्ठे च मुक्तावली गोपास्त्री परिवेष्टितो विजयते गोपालचूडामणि वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचानूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Reading from Srimad Bhagwat Mahapuran. We are in Canto 9, Navam Askand. We have completed 3 chapters. Today we shall take up the chapter 4. We are learning about the different lineages in Chandravansh and Suryavansh. The previous canto was about different Manvantars, but in the current Manvantar, we have these personalities. The most prominent is Sri Krishna, the Chandravanshi, and another most prominent is Sri Ram, the Suryavanshi. So why they are called Chandravanshi and Suryavanshi, we have understood, because if we go back into the history, when the creation takes place, creation is infinite, but there is dissolution and appearance, pralay and srishti. So there are innumerable srishtis and innumerable pralay. So if we consider the starting point as the current creation, the srishti that we see, the first personality that is created is Sri Brahma. So we all know that Brahmaji emerges from the lotus navel of Lord Vishnu. 3 different types of Vishnu are there. Karnodakshayi Vishnu, who lives in the Karnodak ocean, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, who lives in the Garbhodak ocean, and Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, who lives in the Kshir Sagar. So we are talking about the Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, the second Vishnu, from whose navel Brahmaji emerges, and then the creation begins. Brahmaji has Manas Putras. So one of the Manas Putras is Atri, and in his lineage Sri Krishna appears. And similarly in the Suryavanshi, it is sage Marichi and then Vivaswan, Lord Vivaswan, and his son is Ikshvaku, and in that lineage we have his son is Manu, Vavasvat Manu, and his son is Ikshvaku, and in that lineage Sri Ram appears. So this is the list of personalities, the lineage, and also we know the cosmological structure of the universe. There is Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, who lives in the Kshir Sagar, and then the different islands, the Dweep, 7 Dweep, the central Dweep is Jambu Dweep, in which is Bharatvarsh, in which we live. And then there is the Sumeru Parvat and the center of Jambu Dweep. And then there are all these nakshatras, the moon and the sun and the stars and the planets, which are revolving around the Sumeru Parvat. And the fascinating movement of the sun on the top of Mansottar Parvat. The sun is moving in a one-wheeled chariot driven by 7 horses. So all this fascinating structure we have in our image now, we no longer believe what science says because everything seems to be concocted and different than what is stated in Vedic literature. For example, the science says the sun is stationary and the earth is rotating. But the Bhagwat Mahapuran is saying the earth being the part of the Bharatvarsh, being the part of the Jambudvip, being the part of the Bhumandal is stationary, and the sun is rotating on the top, creating the day and night. 24 hours it is moving about the Sumeru Parvat, and in 1 year it is also going up and down. So it has got a very complex movement going up and down in different circular concentric uh, uh, circles, and it is also rotating about the Sumeru Parvat. So all these we learnt in previous cantos, and in this canto we learnt about the son of Vavasvat Manu, who is King Sudyumn. Actually, he was born as the daughter Ila, but he was changed to King Sudyumn by the grace of Rishi Vashisht. Then we also learnt about the other sons of Manuji, the five sons who are Prasiddra, etc. And then the story about Maharshi Chavan, whose eyes were accidentally poked by Sukanya. Sukanya thought this is some shining object, but this was the Rishi doing tapasya, Chavan Rishi. And Chavan Rishi obviously was not amused. He was irate, he was livid, and then the curse was meted out. And to mitigate the curse, Sukanya was married to Rishi Chavan. And then today, and also we learned about another son, Sharyati, in whose lineage we will learn about Yayati and Yadu dynasty. And then we will finally go into the lineage of Sri Krishna, the personality Sri Krishna. Today we shall take up the story of Nabhag and Ambarish. Now Nabhag becomes a very prominent personality because he is the father of Ambarish. And Ambarish, everyone knows, is a great devotee. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Yat karoshi yadashnasi yajjuhosi dadasi yat tapashyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Ninth chapter. Shri Krishna is saying that whatever you do, whichever work you are doing, you are consuming food, you are drinking water, you are watching serials, you are cooking food, you are brushing your teeth, whatever you are doing, it's like within the remembrance of God. So your act is all dedicated to Sri Krishna. You're brushing your teeth so that your teeth are shining white. And when Sri Krishna is watching your teeth, he is happy. My candidate is very well, mannered in his bodily upkeep. The food which you cook should be all sanctified and we should all be full of love so that when Sri Krishna is given the food, he is delighted. So tell me which act is not acceptable to Krishna and which act cannot become a yajna. So that is the meaning yat karoshi yadashnasi. Whatever you do, yadashnasi, whatever you eat. Yat tapashyasi konteya, whatever austerities you are doing. So somebody decides to do a fast, somebody decides to go on a pilgrimage, somebody decides to do a chanting session. So all the yajnas are all dedicated to Shri Krishna. Yat tapashyasi konteya tat kurushva madarpanam. We should do it with a sentiment of love for the Lord. So Ambarish was a great example because he became famous that he uses all his senses in the service of the Lord. When he walks, he circumambulates. He is circumambulating the deity, so his walk is also dedicated to God. He is smelling the itra offered to the Lord, the fragrant, the essence that is also the act of smelling is the service. He is only eating prasad which has been offered to the Lord lovingly. So his eating is also the act of service, divine service. So he became very famous that he dedicates all his actions, all his senses to the work for God. for the service of God. And then this incident happened that Durvasha Rishi landed up. Durvasha Rishi, who is the actually the avatar of Lord Shiv, but he has been given a very complex duty that you should do very, very obnoxious acts which disturb the devotees. And how the devotees will react, that will be the test. So Durvasha Rishi is hated by everyone because he does such crazy stuff. But look at his service. He is doing such a difficult service. So he is to be revered. But in the Leela Kshetra, he also tested Ambarish in a very complex and crazy way. And how Ambarish was saved by the Lord is a legendary story that we will read in this chapter. But let's stop the background, the knowledge at this point because we have limited time. So now we shall sing the bhajan, and then we will read the text, and then we will have some interactive session. So today's bhajan is a Bhog Aarti, is a Bhog bhajan. Jevan ki balihar yugalvar. Jevan means the eating, the food. So a gopi says, I adore the vision of Radha Krishna eating together. My both beloveds are sitting on a low height seat, especially made of dining purpose, which is embedded with jewels and is made of sandalwood. So in our childhood, we also used to sit on the floor and eat. We used to call it pirha, the wooden planks. And here it is even more ornamental and beautiful. Sri Krishna has a nice small table on which the food is kept. And then the gopis have neatly placed the gold bowls in an ornamented high-edged large gold dish. So all the utensils which are being used by Sri Krishna is made up of gold. So why the utensils should be in gold and silver? Because gold and silver are, the germ killers. It removes all the dirt and the germ. It is like antiseptic metal. So that is why the food in the gold and silver plates is the best. But then everyone cannot afford gold and silver plates. So Lord made banana tree. So the leaf of banana has the equal power. It has the same antiseptic qualities. I did not know this until I came to Sri Maharaj's, satsang. So here Sri Krishna is eating in the golden bowl and the golden dish, and in them they serve the food of nectar, delicacy of all the six kinds of flavors: salty, sweet, hot, and spicy, pungent, savory, and sour. So salty, everyone will remember samosa. Sweet, gulab jamun or rasgulla. Hot, maybe the sizzler. Spicy, the hot pizzas these days. Pungent, something made of, like the tamarind flavor and all. Savory, the all those savories like the murukkus, etc. And the sour. So the curd dishes are sometimes sour. The So all these six shat rush is a very major part of the Ayurvedic eating. So the food is such a important aspect of our life. So next slide we will see. Then the gopi said with folded hands, O life of my soul, Priya Priyatam, please eat the food. Both Radha and Krishna started eating, joyfully giggling and smiling. Sometimes they gave morsels of their choice in each other's mouth. The gopis played the instruments and sang the dining song Jevanar in a sweet voice while they ate. The gopis say the dining lila is so loving and charming that anyone who sees it sacrifices his soul. So these are beautiful traditions we have, like in North India, when the Bharat comes for the lunch on the next day of the wedding, the women sing songs, and it is very hilarious sometimes and a bit, joking, but in a very sharp and biting words, but they are not meant to offend the guests. They are meant to to be taken as a banter, as a joke, as a humor. So let us sing this bhajan and then we will read the text. जेवन की बलिहार जुगलवर, जेवन की बलिहार जुगलवर, जेवन की बलिहार जुगलवर, जेवन की बलिहार जुगलवर। मणि न जटित चंदन पीठासन, मणि न जटित चंदन पीठासन, राजत दो सरकार जुगलवर, राजत दो सरकार जुगलवर, जेवन की बलिहार जुगलवर, जेवन की बलिहार जुगलवर। कनक थार मह कनक कटोरिन, कनक थार मह कनक कटोरिन, साजी सखी न सवार जुगलवर, साजी सखी न साजी सखी न सवार जुगलवर, साजी न सखी न सवार युगलवर, जेवन की बलिहार जुगलवर। पुनीति न मह परसी बहु व्यंजन, पुनीति न मह परसी बहु व्यंजन, सट रस सरस अपार जुगलवर, सट रस सरस अपार जुगलवर, जेवन की बलिहार 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 युगलवर। पुनि कर जोरी कहेउ आरोगहु, पुनि कर जोरी करेहु आरोगहु, सखी न प्राण साकार युगलवर, सखी न प्राण साकार युगलवर, जेवन की बलिहार युगलवर, जेवन की बलिहार युगल। पिय प्यारी मुख प्यारी, पिय मुख पिय प्यारी मुख प्यारी, पिय मुख हसी हसी ग्रास ही डार युगलवर, हसी हसी ग्रास ही डार युगलवर, जेवन की जेवन की बलिहार युगलवर। सखी न समाज साज संग गावती, सखी न समाज साज संग गावती, मधुर सुरन जेवनार युगलवर, मधुन सुरन जेवनार युगल, जेवन की बलिहार युगलवर। लखी कृपालु शोभा की झाकी, लखी कृपा शोभा की झाकी, कौन प्राण देवार युगलवर, कौन प्राण देवार युगलवर, जेवन की बलिहार 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 युगल वर, जीवन की बलिहार युगल वर। बोलिए श्रीमद सदगुरु सरकार की जय।
जय
श्रीमद युगल सरकार की जय। जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे। Our koti koti pranam to the lotus feet of Sri Hari and Sri Guru. Our koti koti pranam to Swami Mukundananji. My humble pranam to each one of you. And now we shall read from the lineage of Manu's son Nabhag, chapter 4, canto 9. Let me read a few slides and then I will hand over to the participants. Sukhdev ji continues, Shraddh Dev Manu's son Nabhag had many sons. The youngest was also named Nabhag, who was more inclined towards dharma and religious practices. His elder brothers distributed the father's property amongst themselves, leaving nothing except their father's care for their youngest brother, assuming he would be content with the same. When Nabhag brought this to the knowledge of his father consoled him and told him to approach the neighboring Brahmins, sage Angira's science, conducting a yajna, and on the sixth day of the yajna, when they would commit some errors in the yajna mantras, Nabhag should correct the same with his knowledge of mantras and worship the Vashwadev. After the yajna concludes, the Brahmins, while they return to heaven, shall leave the leftover wealth to Nabhag. Accordingly, the very satisfied and happy Brahmins bestowed their wealth to Nabhag before proceeding to heaven. At that time, a Rudra appeared and claimed all the leftover dhan as the rightful claimant of the yajna. Nabhag argued it as his own given to him by the Brahmins. To settle the claim, the Rudra asked Nabhag to clarify it from his own father, Nabhag. The father too agreed with Rudra that in the sacrifice of Daksh in the past, it was settled that anything left after the yajna in the grounds belonged to Rudra. So, very interesting story how Nabhag was not given any share by the brothers, but his father told him to go and sit with the rishis, and when the mantras will be chanted, and if you find the errors, go and correct them. So, he did that, and then we read about how Rudra came in and the conversation between his father and the the sage, the Rudra. Now, in this slide, hearing this, Nabhag apologized humbly to Lord Rudra, accepting his mistake, settling the doubt. Lord Rudra, who was very pleased with the honesty of Nabhag and Nabhag, he not only gave all the wealth back, but also imparted divine and absolute Brahma knowledge to Nabhag. So I think the father's name is Nabhag and the son's name is Nabhag. Right. So wealth back, but also imparted divine and absolute Brahma knowledge to Nabhag. Repeatedly reciting and hearing this story, O King Parikshit, one will be blessed with all Vedic knowledge and ways to attain liberation. Now listen to the legend of a devotee who was protected even from a Brahmin curse. So look at Bhagwat Mahapuran. Every 3-4 chapters on an average, you hear a Falashruti. Hey, did you listen to this legend, to this story attentively? And if you have heard attentively, these are the gains that have happened to you. So in this particular case, if somebody recites and hears this story repeatedly, they will be blessed with the Vedic knowledge and they will get to know how to attain liberation. Nabhag had a son, virtuous sage Ambarish, who was also a devotee of both Sri Hari and his bhaktas. Though owning all the seven dvipas, inexhaustible store of wealth and opulences, he regarded the value of them same as those with the objects seen in a dream, that is all temporary. The king used all available resource in the seva of Supreme Lord alone. For example, his mind exclusively fixed on the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, voice to eloquently recount the virtues of Lord Vaikunt, hands to sweep the Lord's temple, auditory sense to listen to the stories of the immortal Lord, eyes for seeing the image and idols of the Lord, tactile sense on touching and the Lord's touching Lord's devotees, olfactory sense to smell the divine tulsi leaves placed at the Lord's feet, tongue for tasting food after humbly offered to the Lord, feet to walk and roam in holy places like Mathura, head toward head bowed at the feet of the Lord, weaving various types of garlands for the Lord, etc. So you can see what I was mentioning earlier is that Ambarish is known for using all his limbs, all his senses in the service of the Lord. Olfactory sense, which is the sense of smelling, that is for divine tulsi leaves placed at the Lord's feet. Tasting food, that only the food which is offered to the Lord. Feet to walk in the pilgrimage, like pilgrim centers like Mathura, etc. Head bowed at the feet of the Lord, and hands weaving various types of garlands for the Lord. Hands to sweep the Lord's temple, and also weaving various type of garlands for the Lord. So all these services Amrish was doing, and he is the son of Nabhag, who is the son of Nabhag, who is the son of Vaivasvat Manu. Let us see the next slide. So please raise your hands who likes to read some of the paragraphs. Chapter 4, lineage of Manu's son Nabhag. All this was done by the king so that his attachment is only with the Lord and Lord's devotees. Thus, King Ambarish ruled the earth, performing duties as Karmyog, taking guidance from sages like Rishi Vashist, etc. He conducted many grand Ashwamedh sacrifices conducted by sages Vasist, Asit, Gautam, etc., giving generous dakshinas. The king and his people too worshipped the Supreme Lord, and none coveted any pleasures for their senses, not even heavens, and experienced constant bliss. The king eventually gave up all attachments towards every material relation and objects. Pleased with his selfless prayers, worship, and devotion, Ashwamedh, Yagnas, etc., Lord Narayan assigned his own Sudarshan Chakra as constant protection to King Ambarish. The king, together with his wife, once decided to observe the Dwadashi Vrat, 3 days starting from Dashmi for a year, observing the Vrat coming in the month of Kartik on the Dwadashi day. King Ambarish concluded the rituals of worshipping the Lord and honoring, gifting and serving sumptuous, delicious food first to the Brahmins. Then, with their permission, he himself sat down to have food to conclude his fast. So, the very fascinating story begins, and before that, the 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 background is provided here that King Ambrish was ruling not only one dweep but all the seven dweepas in Bhumandal, and he was taking guidance from the sage Rishi Vashist, and he conducted many Ashwamedh sacrifices, which were conducted by sages Vashist, Asit, Gautam, etc. And Asit, Gautam, Vashist are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita shlok also. So when Arjun is glorifying the Lord, uh, you know, this verse also comes before that. Asito Devalo Vyasat, uh, Narada, that very prominent verse is there. So those sages are mentioned here. Also, his selfless prayers, worship, and devotion was so advanced that Lord Narayan assigned his own Sudarshan Chakra as constant protection to King Ambarish. And now the Dwadasi Ekadasi Vrat Katha begins, that it lasts for 3 days. So the last day, the third day, the king has done all his rituals, and now he's going to take food after the fast. And let us see what happens in the next slide. So I'll read just
Yep.
one more, and then Ananya can read the next one. So just one more. Exactly. Then the glorious sage Durvasa arrived, and the king ceremoniously and reverentially welcomed the guest and invited him to take food. Since it was time for the Nitya daily ritual, sage Durvasa agreed to take the food after finishing his Nitya rituals, and then proceeded to the river Kalindi to take the ritual bath. Waiting for the sage patiently, King Amrish noticed that the auspicious Muhurat time would conclude end lapse shortly. As he had invited the sage Atithi to eat, the king was obliged to wait for the sage to eat first, but the purpose of the Vrat fast would be meaningless defeated if not concluded before the Muhurat elapsed. King Amrish was caught in a great dilemma, Dharm Sankat. He approached and discussed with the other sages for a way out. I am pausing here just for a minute to say that The Lord actually doesn't want us to do any of these. Jap, tap, niyama, dharma, nita. You know that very famous chopai. The Lord says, no need to do all this. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja. Because if somebody is reading this story and is thinking that why am I not doing rituals like Amrish did, actually there is no need as per the Lord. But if you have the interest and if you have the power to put yourself in such austerities, then it is your choice, but there is no mandatory compulsion from the Lord. The Lord says, Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktya upritam ashnami prayatatmanaha. So my bhakt, if he just offers a little flower, a little water, a little leaf, and a little fruit, I will eat it. Oh Lord, you will eat the patta, the leaf. Yes, I will eat it. The Lord says. He is willing to eat the patta also. What to think of other, fruits and the the flowers which we offer. So Lord is so delighted about the sentiment of love. He is not wanting to see what you have cooked and what rituals you have performed. But here Ambarish was in a different type. So he is doing so many rituals, and then his acts become an example for other devotees. After deliberations, it was agreed that the king could drink water equivalent to eating food. Yeah, sorry, what I wanted to mention is this is the compulsion of Ekadasi fast. Once I was in US and I was already having a very tight different time zone, etc. And Ekadasi fast came in. Those days I used to do Ekadasi fast. I did for many years. So I was breaking the Ekadasi fast the next day, and that day it was only the break time was only 2 minutes. So within 2 minutes you have to finish the ritual. So if you bond yourself with all these rituals, these compulsions also we have to abide by. So here, Amrish ji has not returned, and the time for breaking the fast is passing by. So Amrish ji just took some drops of water. So let's see the last paragraph of this slide. After deliberations, it was agreed that the king could drink water. No, the last paragraph I had not read. So if you can go back. So, yes, after deliberations, it was agreed that the king could drink water equivalent to eating food within the muhurt and conclude his fast, and also ate food only after says Durvasa had eaten. Keeping the Lord in mind, sipping water, King Amrish concluded his Dwadashi fast and waited for. Sage Durvasa, seeing Sage Durvasa approaching after his bath, King Amrish offered his pranams, obeisances to the sage. Durvasa Muni then perceived, realized that the king had concluded his fast vow. He flew into a rage. So this is the anger of King Durvasa, which we will read in detail in the next slide. He got very angry, and he creates a weapon to chase Amrish and punish him. So let's see what happens in the next slide. Over to you, Vijay Bhaiya.
Yeah, I think Ananya, she wants to read the slide.
Yes, yes, please.
Famished with hunger, limbs trembling in rage, with a frown he said, "You have committed a utmost violation of dharma by first inviting me to eat and then without waiting for me finished eating your food. You are intoxicated by your fortune, and lack devotion to the Lord Vishnu. Hence I will impart result of your unrighteous act, considering it as a deliberate affront insult by the king. The furious sage, plucking hair Jatha from his head, dashed it to the ground. From that spot on the ground emerged a most fierce, scary, huge sword-bearing, fearful, fearful form named Kritya, created to destroy King Abharnish. King Abharish perceived, felt, sensed Kritya approaching him from above, and ignoring it. It was totally calm, composed, and did not stir from his place. However, the Supreme Lord's Sudarshana, ever ready to protect the Lord devotees, cut short and burned Kritya, just as a fire would burn an angry serpent. Sudarshana, emitting fire, gunning from Kriya's creator, now turned towards the sage Durvasha. Seeing his purpose defeated and the fiery red Sudarshana pursuing, the sage took to his heels, and first ran into a cave of Mount Meru. Sudarshana followed the sage into the cave, which made the sage come out and run into every part of creation, encompassing the three worlds. But the Sudarshana Chakra was right behind him throughout.
Right. So how Kritya was created by Durvasha Muni, because he was very angry that why he broke the fast. He did not wait for me, but there was a reason why he broke the fast, and he is being so unfair, and he creates this fiery demoness, which is a demon or demoness, which is out to punish and destroy King Amrish. But the Lord is forever protecting his devotees. So Sudarshan Chakra comes in the picture. And let's read further what happens in the next slide.
Yeah, Aditi, yeah, with yourself.
Radhe Radhe. Fearing for his life, then the sage decided to take refuge of Lord Brahma in Brahmalok and approached him for protection. He appealed to the Lord Brahma to protect him from the Lord's chakra, which is unconquerable by anyone. Lord Brahma told the sage that he himself had a limited time of I can't pronounce that.
Parad.
1 day stroke night and limited command, and with the mere contraction of the Lord's eyebrow, disillusion commenced, with Brahma's own sphere and all creations vanishing. Along with Lord Shiva, even Daksha, Brigu, all Prajapatis, all Brihaspatis, Indradevs, and Devtas obeyed the Lord's command and instructions, which is to do acts only for the welfare of the world and his devotees. And hence he, Brahma, could not act otherwise to help the sage. Desperate sage Durvasa then approached Lord Shiva in Mount Kailash. Madhav told the sage, "You are powerless, O dear son, under the Supreme Lord who is manifesting and dissolving many such universes, and in which even the Lord Brahma and me are tossing about like tiny creatures. Me, Sanatukam Kumar, Narad Muni, Rishi Apartarma, and Devala, Dharmadev, Kapil Muni, Sage Asuri, and many siddhas headed by Sage Marachi are all deluded and surrounded by the Lord's Maya, so cannot comprehend his acts."
Right. So we see that no one can save
No,
Durvasha Rishi from
no.
being attacked by the Sudarshan Chakra, because that is the highest government, and that highest government everybody is subordinate. So everyone is saying, I cannot do anything. This is the highest government's matter. So let's see the next one.
Shiv, Lord Brahm cannot run away from the Sudarshan Chakra.
Yes.
Sheila Aditi, do you want to read the slide?
Thank you. He then advised the sage to approach Supreme Lord Narayan himself for protection from the Lord's own weapon, acting under the Lord's command alone. Helpless and disappointed, sage Durvasha accordingly went to Vaikunt, where the Lord resides with his divine spouse, Devi Shri. Scorched by the heat generating from the Sudarshan hovering near him, Sage Durvasa confessed to the Supreme Lord of his, Sage Durvasa, own irrational, ignorant act or offense towards the Lord's dear devotee, King Ambarish. He then prayed and sought protection from Narayan, whose mere name alone can deliberate residents, denizens of hell too. The glorious Lord calmly explained to the sage, O sage, like a dependent, I'm controlled only by my bhakts, for whom I am their only soul beloved. Their innocent, selfless devotion enslaves me, and I do not covet the love of my own self or of my own Mahalakshmi, who is eternal like me. My devotees have forsaken their role and have sought protection in me. How and why should I forsake my bhakts then?
True. So this is a very prominent slide in which this sloka appears. Aham bhakta paradhino ya satantra iva dvij sadhu bhir grasta hridayo bhaktair bhakta janapriyaha. So this is the shloka number 63, and you will hear this in many lectures of Sri Maharaji, where Lord is appearing and telling Durvasha Muni that, O Durvasha ji, I am forever under the governance of my bhaktas, and I don't have any independence on that. If my bhakta has enslaved me, so I am bound by their love, and I don't have the independence. So these simpletons, the simple bhaktas, have captured me in their hearts, and they love me, and I also love them. And he goes on, and he says, no one is as dear to me as these bhaktas. So you will have to go and beg for forgiveness from him alone. I think that will come in the next slide.
I think this was the
So
last one.
with that, the slides, right? Okay.
I think that is in the next chapter.
Okay. So that may be in the next chapter. So with that, we come to an end of the text. We also have little time now, so let us quickly go through the takeaways, which is kasmachte nam mirna mahatman गरीयसे ब्रह्मणोऽप्यादिक्रत्रे अनन्तदेवेश जगन्निवासत् अनन्तदेवेश जगन्निवास त्वमक्षरं सदसत्ततं param yat. So this is from Bhagavad Gita. Okay. 1137. O great one, who are even greater than Brahma, the original creator, why should they not bow to you? O limitless one, O Lord of the Devatas, O refuge of the universe, you are the imperishable reality beyond both the manifest and the non-manifest. So, okay, I was reading in a different meter. Let me read it once more. कस्माच्तेन न मेरन् महात्मना गरीयसे ब्रह्मणोऽप्यादिकर्त्रे अनन्तदेवेश जगन्निवास त्वमक्षरं सतत्परं यत्. So very prominent chapter where Lord shows his universal form, cosmic form, the Virat Roop, and Arjun is describing how the Lord looks, and he is glorifying the Lord. Let us see the next one. If anyone wants to read, you are most welcome. Vijay Bhaiya, you want to try?
I can read the translation that
Okay, so let me read the
which I
Sanskrit. Tvam Adideva Purusha Puranas Tvamasya Vishwasya Paramam Nidhanam Vettasi Vedyam Cha Param Cha Dhamam Tvaya Tatam Vishwamananta Rupa. Yes, please.
You are the primeval God and the original divine personality. You are the sole resting place of this universe. You are both the knower and the object of the knowledge. You are the supreme abode. O possessor of infinite forms, you alone pervade the entire universe.
So look at the way Arjun is glorifying the Lord, that you are the original, you are primeval, you are not born, you are ajanma, and you are the sole resting place of the universe. The universe needs your shelter. Without your shelter, the universe cannot exist. And you are both the knower and the object of knowledge. You alone are the knower, and why we should have the knowledge? To know you. You are the supreme abode. So all these hymns are being sung by Arjun, and perhaps one more takeaway, and then we can
Yeah.
start the interactive session. वायोर्मो अग्निर्वरुण शशाङ्कः प्रजापतिस्त्वं प्रपितामहश्च नमो नमस्तेस्तु सहस्रकृत्वा पुनश्च भूयोऽपि नमो नमस्ते. Yes, please.
You are Vayu, a god of wind, Yamraj, god of death, Agni, god of fire, Varun, god of water, and Chandra, moon god. You are the creator Brahma and the great grandfather of all beings. I offer my salutation unto you 1,000 times, again and yet again.
So, very prominent shlok again. You are Vayu means who creates the power of wind, who creates the power of the fire, who creates the water. It is all God's energy, but He appoints someone to be in charge. So, in that context, it is said the fire god is also the Lord, and the Vayu, the wind god, is also the Lord. So you can not see the differentiation, and sometimes in the context we can see the difference also. So here the difference is not seen. Everything is considered as Advait. That fire of that fire, God fire, the fire of God, the God of fire, the God of water, the God of wind. It is all God. So with that we come to an end of our text reading. Over to Bijay Bhaiya for the interactive session.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Priya, for all this, nice bhajan and also taking us through this story of the Ambarish Ji Maharaj and giving us background, like, what happened. So with that, I'll open up, to the whole audience, like if they have any questions or any feedback or anything they want to share from their experience. Uh, yeah, Madhuri, go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Bhaiya. Bhaiya, I
Radhe
was
Radhe.
reading this story on King Amrish in Swami Mukunandan's book, Inspiring Stories for Children, Volume 1. And I often wondered when I was reading, why is Sage Durvasa so uh, aggressive? And I couldn't find the answers. Can you just enlighten me again? Is it part of Leela that he was given this personality and character?
Yes. So that's how I began the session, saying that Durvasha Rishi is Lord Shiv himself. He is considered
Okay.
an avatar of Lord Shiv. So you
Uh-huh.
can imagine how important a personality is he. So he is given this very difficult Leela, that you have to create obstacles in the path of devotees. So that is why Durvasha ji is sometimes going and creating such a ruckus in Krishna's palace. Sometimes he is coming to Ambarish ji. So we have to look at Durvasha Rishi in that light. We will have this, the antagonistic sentiments against him. But when we
Uh-huh.
look at the reasons why he is doing it, we will glorify him. So
Right.
you are quite right. It is the Leela
Okay.
which he is performing. He is actually the divine personality.
All right. So when turbulence, ups and downs happen to us in life, it could be Durvasa or it could be Maya.
So, so turbulence that happens in our life, I think the best way is to think of our past karma.
Uh-huh.
So, like
Okay.
in this
Yeah.
life, we are doing so many karmas. Sometimes we are being very compassionate to our neighbor and the fellow human beings, and we are being very tolerant. The house, uh, uh, household people, the relatives themselves are saying such harsh words to us, but sometimes we are tolerating them. Even though there is no reason for us to be spoken like that, we are tolerating.
Mm.
So we are doing
Totally.
all kinds of good deeds, and the other times when we react or when we are angry unnecessarily. So karmas we are performing in this life. So this is creating a stock. Similarly, in the
Mm.
past, that stock that we have,
Mm-hmm.
they come back to us in adversities and in good
Yeah.
deeds.
Yeah.
But the Lord is very kind. He always gives us a balance. So of course, in some cases, the karma is so difficult that the time taken is longer. So in some people's the cases, the miseries appear to be more, and in some people the miseries appear to be less. So that exact transactions we don't know, but the best way to tackle that is to think, when the adversity is coming to me, Lord is neutralizing my bad karma.
Mm.
So actually, I should be very much thankful to the Lord, and that is one of the conditions of the six conditions. That anukulasya sankalpaha pratikulasya vajanam rakshasi tite vishwaso gop triptve varnam tatha atmnikchepa karpanya shadvida sharanagati. So one of the conditions is, even the adversity that is happening to us, we should consider this as a grace, because my
Mm.
bad karma has been neutralized, and quite
Mm.
possibly God has reduced the intensity, seeing my improvement and advancements. So every situation in life is an opportunity. So we should never feel daunted and subdued if we have the faith that God is never doing injustice. Thank you.
Okay, Radha, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thanks for the wonderful answer, Rajeshriya. So I like the point where you said uh, God also sees that okay, this person is improving, so he reduces the intensity of
Correct.
the problem. So
Because
Uh-huh.
Sri Maharaji keeps saying, whatever you do in this life, the God also does the same, like in the same manner. So, like as a father, as a mother, as a grandfather, as a person in the neighborhood, we do some acts, so we do the same. If somebody has been bad with us, but he is showing improvement, so we also start reducing our animosity with that person, or we
yeah,
become more tolerant. So why God will not do? So we can always infer like that.
yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, and
Actually,
Difficult
and we have heard
tasks.
many times that if you take one step towards God, God takes 60 a step
it's a
towards
good.
us.
Yeah,
Mm.
So we the problem is we keep forgetting all these, and we go back to, no, my life is so miserable and I'm suffering so much. The other person is enjoying so much, he's getting promoted, he's maintaining a great health, he's liked by others, I'm hated by all. So this is the effect of Kali Yuga, also an effect of our own karmic reactions.
I
Durvasa is a
often,
blessing in disguise.
yeah.
The adversity is actually a friend.
Yeah.
I mean, I often hear people saying that okay, there was something more which is supposed to happen, but God just minimized this with the small cuts and bruises and all those things.
Yes, I have said
So
that many times in the
yeah,
satsang. You bought a new car and you took it out, and on the very first day in the street, there was a small accident
yeah,
and there was a dent. So we can start abusing and, bring the hell on earth, but we can also pause and say, oh Lord, you are so kind. You only left me with a dent. It could have been a
yeah,
complete severe accident. So this is how the attitude and the mind management works.
yeah. Okay. Shreya, you have any question?
Um, I was very interested to find out, Rajeji, you said, um, like the gold dishes and the silver dishes, that God has made the banana leaves, and they have also got antibacterial and antimicrobial properties. And that's really, really interesting for somebody that
Mm-hmm.
I knew about the gold and silver all along, but I never knew about the banana leaves. So thank you. Thank you for that information.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I used to
Interesting.
think that if you eat on banana leaves, it's like it's some ritual thing is there. But I didn't know that it is because of this.
Correct. So it has got antiseptic qualities, like so much. The nature has filled, the vegetation with all these, the neem ka patta and the karelas and so much.
Right.
Mm.
We cook in these banana leaves, and then we return them back to earth to recycle as compost to feed the flowers and
Yeah.
other
Absolutely.
plants.
Thank you so
Amazing.
much.
Thank
So
you,
anybody
teacher.
else, Smita Didi, do you have anything specific? I see you joined.
राधे राधे भैया, इतनी समग्रता से इतनी सुंदर विवेचना आप करते हो भैया। भगवान जी में पहली चीज तो थी कि विश्वास होना चाहिए, और जब एक बार विश्वास है भगवान में और साथ में एक अच्छे दृष्टा देखने वाले का, भगवान के स्वरूप को विवेचना अच्छी तरह करने वाले का अगर सामीप्य आपको मिल जाता है, और साथ में उस ग्रुप में भी इतने जानकार और उनसे असीम प्यार करने वाले लोगों का भी समन्वय हो जाए, तो आप समझ सकते हो कि आपका मन भगवान में कितना ज्यादा रम जाता है। और उसका निष्कर्ष ये आता है कि पहला चीज है विश्वास, दूसरा चीज है उस विश्वास को और भी मजबूती प्रदान करने वाले शब्द जो आपके मुख से या इस पूरी संगत के मुख से आते हैं, उन सब का इतना प्रभावकारी प्रभाव होता है कि इंसान को जीवन को जीने का एक तरीका मिल जाता है, और उस तरीके के साथ फिर आप एक इतना सुंदर जीवन जीने लगते हो। आपके मन से धीरे धीरे सारी शंकाएं, जैसे बहुत लोगों को यहाँ ही शंका होती है कि भगवान है भी क्या, फालतू का हम कर रहे हैं क्या, तो वो सारी चीजें जीरो हो जाती हैं। और ये सबसे बड़ी चीज है। इतना ज्यादा पिछले 1 साल से तकरीबन मुझे लगता है कि ये मई से लास्ट ईयर या मार्च से स्टार्ट हुआ था, और अभी हम लोग फिर अप्रैल में आ चुके हैं। ये 1 साल इतना टाइमिंग के साथ हर शनिवार को एक समय में नियमित हम लोग सुन रहे हैं भागवत, और नियमित हम लोग आपस में डिस्कशन करते हैं चीजों पे। इतना सुंदर दिव्य जो होता है ना, उसका इफेक्ट पड़ना वो आ रहा है, और बहुत ही बढ़िया लग रहा है भैया। थैंक यू सो मच। मुझे तो अब ये सोच में आता है कि ये एक बार सेशन खत्म हो जाएगा तो फिर हम लोग अपना सैटरडे का ये टाइम कैसे व्यतीत करेंगे, मतलब वी वांट इट टू बी ऑन एंड ऑन। बहुत अच्छा, बहुत प्यारा, बहुत बढ़िया, आनंदमय पूर्ण। थैंक यू सो मच सबको।
Thank you very much. I don't think I can ever have any words for appreciating what you said. So amazing description and sentiments expressed by you. Thank you.
थैंक यू। राधे राधे।
So
Thank you.
over to Vijay Bhaiya for conclusion now.
Yeah, so I think we have almost reached the time. So, like every time, let's try to bring more people, and slowly we'll be, moving to Canto 10, where we'll discuss more about Sri Krishna Leela that we have seen in TV. So it will be lot more interesting Leelas and all those pastimes. So
With
we'll
that,
meet again.
But could I just say one thing, please, Rajesh ji?
yes,
All I was
yes.
going to say to Smita Didi's reply was, it's 49th week we have been doing Bhagavatam. And in 3 weeks, it'll be 52 weeks complete. So a whole year gone.
Wow.
How it
Yeah.
has gone is unbelievable. Truly.
Mhm.
Thanks a million to you, Rajesh ji.
Amazing, amazing. And thanks to everyone who started this yagnas, and we are continuing. Boliye Srimad Sadguru Sarkar ki jai.
Jai.
Srimad Yugal Sarkar ki jai.
Jai.
Jai
जय
Jai
जय
Shri
श्री
Radhe.
राधे,
जय
Jai
जय
Shri
श्री
श्री
राधे।
राधे।
Jai Jai Shri Radhe.
Radhe.
राधे राधे।
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, everybody.
Oh my goodness.